I can remember the first time I saw a clip of this episode back during July. Even though it was just storyboards, the concept of seeing all the main six and Spike as superheroes was a highly entertaining idea. It was enough to make me laugh back then, and watching the episode now made me laugh even more. The idea seemed so out of the norm for MLP, and that was actually the beauty of it. But I still need to take a look at how well this episode holds up as a whole, rather than just the entertainment value. So, let's take a look into Power Ponies. As the episode begins, we see Spike reading comics in the middle of the night, and explaining the origins of the Maniac to Twilight. Right off the bat, I am reminded of the Joker, right down to how she fell into a vat of chemicals and emerged insane. So it seems that we've got a good setup for an enjoyably over-the-top villain already. But then Spike starts talking about another character by the name of Humdrum, calling him a bumbling and useless sidekick. I smell a moral already. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, provided they do something unique with the concept and don't end up making any of the characters feel out of sorts just to suit the conflict. In the next scene, we see the main six restoring the old castle in the Everfree Forest. To what point and purpose, I really don't know, but this is now the second episode in Season 4 to feature this castle. And it seems that the main six are trying to make the ruins into something more livable. I wonder, could it be Twilight's intention to restore the old castle so as to have some place to rule from? I mean, all the other princesses are living in castles. Maybe restoring the elements of harmony to the tree had not only cleared out the vines, but also made the whole of the Everfree Forest into a safer place. And given just how vital the tree and the elements are, I have to wonder whether Celestia had instructed Twilight to begin restoring the castle so that she could one day take residence there and be close to the elements. I may have to look into this later on. Spike sees everyone doing their part and wants to help in his own way. And then being told by everyone that they don't need anything? Nothing at all? Twilight in particular seems that she would best understand how Spike could be useful, and if he wants to be doing something, why not let him? Seems to me that the conflict here is just a little bit forced in order to reach the moral at the end. Spike is constantly talking about Humdrum getting in the way, and really they don't need to be hammering in this concept so much. It's a bit of a bad sign when the audience starts thinking, yeah, we get it. And it still doesn't stop here. Spike sees a tiny message at the end of the comic that turns out to be an entrance into the comic? Okay, are they going to explain any of this later? Please? Naturally, the rest of the main six get sucked in along with Spike, although I did enjoy seeing Pinky following everyone in just like a dog and pony show. And of course, Spike ends up being the sidekick that he doesn't really like, while the rest of the main six get to be the heroes. But with that said, these are some really great designs. Each of them has a unique look that just goes to show even more great talent on the part of DHX. I'm also glad to see that the main six need some time getting used to their new powers. If they had entered the comic world and immediately started thrashing around bad guys, I would have felt rather disappointed. And besides, this scene also provides us with a quick explanation as to what each pony can do. I was already enjoying hearing about all their powers, but when it came to Fluttershy...
Fluttershy, you're Shadow Ranger! Lose your temper, and you'll turn into a huge, super strong monster!
Whoa. Fluttershy is the Hulk? That feels so wrong, and yet so right at the same time that it becomes brilliant. For the rest of the episode, I was looking forward to the moment when we would get to see Fluttershy being angry. This new villain, the Maniac, is enjoyably over the top with her constant laughter, but I don't think that she really brings anything new to the concept of a villain. But I suppose that there really wasn't enough time in the episode to give her that much of a personality or motives, and really her existence is just supposed to be as a foil for the heroes to defeat here. Although, when I first saw that group of henchmen coming out, I was both expecting and dreading whether they might be putting in a reference to the old Batman TV show with Adam West. I mean, it would have been funny to see that kind of thing, but I was worried that it would take things a little too over the top. But it turns out to be pretty standard as we see the main six getting used to their powers. That is, except for Fluttershy, who still wants to hide. But on the plus side, the episode is giving us a lot of build-up for her transformation later on. The main six end up getting defeated very quickly. Seriously predictable, but admittedly I was still invested in how they were going to get out of the situation. Mostly because I was looking forward to Fluttershy getting her moment in the spotlight. But then we have even more scenes with Spike doubting in himself, and honestly, they really didn't have to put this much emphasis on it. It just creates even more moments of, yeah, we get it, from the audience. Although I did actually like seeing that the hairspray has a time limit, and surprisingly, the henchmen are actually prepared with a timer and a respray. So at least they're not falling into all the same old cliches that I was expecting. But of course, Maniac has to have her monologuing moment. And I actually enjoyed that too, because I was immediately reminded of The Incredibles.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it!
I wasn't even really listening to the monologue, but was just enjoying the concept. Of course, we get the inevitable moment when the main six show how much they believe in Spike, and Spike manages to find his courage and then save the day. But honestly, I was still just looking forward to Fluttershy getting her moment in the spotlight. Seeing her trying to get angry is just plain adorable. And the instant that little insect showed up on the screen, I knew exactly what was going to happen, but I really didn't care. This moment right here, this is fantastic. Best part of the episode, hands down. I don't care how predictable it was. I don't care that it really didn't amount to all that much. Seeing Flutter Hulk made the entire episode for me. So the villain gets defeated, the main six get back into the real world, and Spike gets another lesson about how much the others really care and even believe in him. We saw Twilight reaffirm this in Owl's Well That Ends Well. We saw half of the main six show this during Dragon Quest. But, oh well, if they have to put a moral into an episode like this, I guess it works okay. I just wish they didn't have to hammer in the concept quite as much as they did. And then we hear that Spike got this comic from a house of enchanted comics. This is a normal thing for Equestria? Children can just buy a comic book and play the part of their favorite superheroes? Even though such an idea seems quite amazing, it raises a lot of questions. And I get the feeling that the writers are probably never going to mention anything like this ever again, so really, the concept seems to have been just put in for plot convenience. But even with the overly predictable storyline, the moments of conflict that drag just for the sake of the lesson at the end, or even how there was so little time in the episode for any real development, I actually like this episode. The overall concept seems so bizarre but still works so well, if only just so we can see the main six in these new roles and all the humorous moments that come with it. The designs are fantastic, their powers are creative and seem to fit very well with the characters. And even just that one scene is enough to make the episode enjoyable for me. It still makes me smile just thinking about it. This episode didn't really do anything for the overarching plot of MLP, but it made for a fun little side story, even if the characters will never mention anything about it ever again. But now I would like to hear from each of you. Was this an episode that you were looking forward to? Do you think that the superhero angle is a good fit for MLP? Do you think that they could have done more with the concept? Or was it a bit too much for you to enjoy? Do you have any ideas as to why the main six are restoring the old castle? Do you think that we'll be seeing any more of the enchanted comic books in this series? I would like to hear your thoughts about Power Ponies. And as for me, I'm looking forward to seeing all the fan art surrounding Flutter Hulk. Until next time, I am DRWolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Hulk! Smash!